they just don't say it out loud. Haven't you always been like, since you started traveling, haven't you always thought, I wish the world was smaller?
No, actually, it's never felt smaller. When we started
No, I
traveling,
mean,
what,
like
18,
Tokyo should only be an hour flight. Like if it was that small.
yeah, but then everybody would have access to it, and then it doesn't feel
Yeah, but I'm
special.
saying, could you imagine how? Maybe I'm coping, but would you be more tapped in with your friends worldwide if the world was that small?
Yeah, but then it wouldn't feel any different than like going to a different part of Vancouver, or it'd feel like going to Seattle.
Yeah,
There's
I've said
there's
this
nothing
before. When I was
special about it.
reflecting on this, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm bullshitting. I think I would still not talk to these friends. You know,
Yeah.
like we
I
have
think
neighbors that
everybody's
live across the bridge here, and I don't see them.
Yeah, but it's a different story. Maybe if it's your generation, people you party with when you're younger, to like revisit them and spend time with them. Start off with Albania, see how that goes, and then work your way up. But I've been saying this for years. I'm like, why are you spending so much time in the U.S.? The U.S. looks just like here. Go travel the world. And now that's the wave. Everybody's doing Speed. Sneeko started it.
I can't believe you know who Speed is.
Yeah, only because you went to Albania. And he met the prime minister. Like some
Honestly,
our mom knew.
introduced me to. There's a clip where he goes to a girl. He goes, "This is why he got banned on Twitch for a while." He goes, "If we were the last two people on Earth, would we repopulate the planet?" And she goes, "No, not even then." And then he goes like this, "Oh yeah, who gonna stop me?" And bro, in front of like an 11-year-old audience, like 100,000, and then
He doesn't get banned for that?
Sounds like a ban. She starts screaming, "You ain't stopping me! If we're the last two people on Earth, who's stopping me?" And you can see the panic in her eyes because women, their greatest fear is like a guy does that to them. So even as he's joking, I'm not being like a sensitive guy when I say this. There's like a hint percent in her eyes, like, bro, ask Chat. Don't ask Chat. Chat, am I bullshitting, or did she actually get like? She had to check it in her head. She'd be like, "Oh, wait a minute, I wouldn't be able to stop him from like R wording, right?" And imagine all those 11-year-olds, all the Twitch staff. None of them are. They're used to a toxic level that like Hassan Piker brings to the platform. So this guy blacked out, and it was like the first time someone beat me on the toxic thing. And when I saw it, I was like,
so he doesn't get banned for that though?
Zerkan Dead Hex.
He doesn't get banned for that though? That's a permanent ban.
Zerkan Dead Hex would get banned from everything, right? And then we would the pussyfoot around when we come back, and we always go harder again.
Oh man, you should see the appeal Hex and I sent out to Twitch.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that. How good is it?
Oh, ask Hex, man, he killed it. He did such a good job. He's like, I was
wait,
mental head space.
apparently the only thing that's ever worked for Train told me this, Teal Mike told me this when I was friends with Teal Mike, and everyone told me they played the mental health card.
Yeah, we did that.
You did that?
Signed by your therapist. Yeah, we tried on Kick, but we took a completely different approach. Said, like, it was your fault. And they didn't even take a day to get. Hold on, Kick didn't even take a day to get back to us. Like, yeah, this is because obviously, like, you're effectively not even taking any accountability. So, like, I switched up for Twitch. Kick said no. Yeah.
What they said?
They said they're very vague about it. It seemed like a copy-pasted response, like, "Oh, we can't reinstate you this time." I'll send it to you after. But with Twitch, we're gonna try something very different, go the mental health route. And you were losing your mind a little bit last year.
I think I did.
There's some truth to it.
I mean, it's all.
Okay, hold on, John. How is Speed not perma-banned for that? Also, he's not funny. I have no. How the fuck somebody like that can become that famous and rich?
No.
The least funny person. It's like
he's really.
I guess it makes sense. You're a 5-year-old.
You haven't watched his content done? He's actually really funny. He has a Kwaku face, like a rape face. He does to the camera.
Zero funny, man. Nothing.
No, if you want to be a hater, let's hate all the way. Kai Cenat has never made me laugh.
Speed has never made me laugh. I don't even know who the other guy is, but
bro, Chat, does Kai make anyone laugh? Like, bro, Kai Cenat, he's an entertaining guy, but what happened to my camera?
Who is that?
Kai Cenat, you don't. Oh, wow, you're really not talking. Kai Cenat is that guy who he's really talented. He makes like 200K viewers a day. Like he left XQC and everyone in the dust. Like he makes so much money. He collabs with Nicki Minaj and Kevin Hart, and they want to be on his shit.
He's a streamer.
He's the biggest streamer on earth right now. Yeah.
Yeah, man, the quality's gone down.
No,
bad when
the internet started with Asians like kept Jumbo and stuff, and then that meta ran for a few decades, and then some white boy pranksters like Nelk Boys. But when the black kids got involved, it actually became funnier. Like, bro, let's be honest, Nelk was the best. They were the funny because they had real pranks.
Yeah.
But dude, if I was a kid, you know what's funny, then is we never really watched YouTube like that, but we did watch Nelk. You and I would sit in our room and
from the beginning, like their earliest stuff. Yeah, Nelk was good, but I wish I could find this. I saw this Instagram reel. They did a parody of what a Nelk podcast looks like, and they're asking this question. If somebody can find it in the chat, it is the funniest thing I've ever seen. And they're like parodying, what like the Full Send podcast looks like. Like, how many books have you read? How many books have you read? And like they fixate on that. It was the most accurate representation, but I couldn't find it ever. But I know of like the Nelk guys. Like how they'll just ask one question and they'll just keep repeating it, and they'll just try to like, I don't know, dude. If I find it, I'll send it to you. It's so funny. Anyways, all right, let's jump into this, man. We're gonna have time today. You're flying out tomorrow. I got stuff to do. Should we answer some questions?
Yeah, let's get it started.
All right, sick. We skipped introduction this week. Right into it. Hey, is there any way to heal the? Say again.
Did I give like a big? I don't remember the last one. Did I give like a big?
Yeah, but people always complain in the chat that we just spent the first hour catching up. It's like they haven't seen each other. They're catching up. But yeah, let's jump into it. This one's for you, I think. Is there any way to heal the right side of the brain? I think I damaged it slightly due to extreme mental breakdown I had. Basically, all cognitive abilities went down. It was a few years ago, and I missed being in that state of that quick-witted guy. I know I can get that quick thinking back. I just need to know how. Would reading help maybe?
Well, he said right side of the brain, and then he said quick wit. Wouldn't quick wit be the logical left side of the brain? Right side would be the imagination and creative faculties. So I don't know if he's lying right now, and I'm not a doctor, bro. I don't know how you harmed your head, but if you mean the right side,
you said it's due to an extreme mental breakdown. So how do you have an extreme mental breakdown on only one side of?
Yeah, that's impossible, isn't it?
Maybe you can clarify. All right, we'll come back to it. If you answer some of these questions, we'll come back to it. There's some things I could say, but
yeah, I'm not going to pretend to be a doctor.
Twins, is this the Twins, is this healthy? The only way I'm able to note take about my identity is visualization. I look away from my computer at something blank and imagine a toy I used to play with as a child, and then writing about my flaws and mental cracks becomes easy. However, if I look at the screen, the words I'm writing, my writing slows and I start to stutter and thought, what's the reason for this? So I can utilize this for self-reflection better. So basically, he does a better job visualizing than he does writing things down.
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've never been like affirmation guy and stuff like that. I've done it, but for me, visualizing with some headphones and going for a long hike, walk, something to increase my body temperature, that's always worked better. I mean, I've talked about how I've done like 3 to 6 hours before podcasts just so I perform. And then when I don't do that, I kind of underperform, like on the recent Sneeko stuff. I don't really prepare for those. But yeah, I've never been the writing guy. Have you?
I've always been sort of adept at writing. My entire master's program was all writing. We had no tests. Everything was an essay. And we had to write something like 2,000 words a week. So I got really used to doing that. And I feel like it kind of drew into my strengths. But for this person, what I'd say is it doesn't matter. The purpose that this exercise is trying to serve is to externalize what you're experiencing internally. So whether it's done through visualization or writing, it doesn't matter. If you find lean into your strengths, don't do anything that feels too contrived or forced in any way.
The guys Jung would take on, he would say have you ever babysat a little child, chat, and he just starts getting sugared up and randomly starts punching everything, and he gets this burst of energy, and it has to be walked out, it has to be in the world of play, it has to be acted out, because the archetype is pushing through the child and dog walking the child, and the child becomes unbearable to be around, and this is why they give them sports. It's the same way with adults, this is why adults who continue with their hobbies like football or dance class, they're dancing out the archetype. They have to externalize this energy, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, I think every single case of internet depression is always boy going to man, becoming an adult, and he doesn't have soccer practice after school anymore. He doesn't have something routine. He goes to college and then goes home, and the depression kicks in because that archetypal energy of like I have to pull this energy out of me. Because it doesn't get spent, it all turns into anxiety in your brain, and your wheels start turning in your fucking head. And I'm like, oh, Jung was talking about why humans work out. This is why people say you got to work out every day to feel healthy, because it's not really every day you need it. But when this energy is coming out of you, if it doesn't go into canvas, a painting, football, or something like that, you go fucking mad. Great example is any athletes in chat quit sports. Tell me how depressed that year when you quit was. You didn't even realize and I'm thinking of this like, oh wow, this is why healthy people have a routine piano session, a jam out session, a painting session, then they have their workout. These archetypal energies, these organizing principles that are surrounded with symbols, like, let's say strength, you have to feel strength. Like Nietzsche said the best thing, he said, humans have always focused on surviving, but that's still going to lead to their demise, because a human doesn't just want to survive, they want to externalize their energy and thrive and then conquer. It's a will to power. That if you survive as a human, you've seen what happens. You become like these Walmart guys who kill themselves, right? And so the human needs to, one, survive, two, to have that energy component of their will, trying, and then three is actually conquer. That if you don't conquer, if you don't evolve, if there's no will to power, there's nothing bridging that, surviving is not enough. You're not a dog. And I'm thinking to myself like, oh my God, this is why winning is so important.
I like that. Jung takes a different approach. The way we imagine it is that when you're a child, everything you experience physically will transform itself psychologically. So I'll tell you actually something kind of interesting, maybe a little bit controversial, but it sells the point. I work with a lot of clients who have been adopted, and I noticed there's a pattern in, I'll say 90% of the clients that I see, where there's some schema, some belief system around abandonment. So that physical abandonment that they experience as a child, right? And they would experience it that way. They don't have the psychological properties to understand or process that. But as they get older, the physical separation transforms into psychological. And then as you get older, and especially as you become very old, the psychological needs to turn into the physical. So there's a relationship between those two. The reason why we're depressed typically is because, like you're saying, a lot of that energy, maybe a lot of these things that we want to be doing isn't being reflected in the physical. So there's a disconnect between the physical and the psychological. That's the way we approach it. I think if you see a lot of like young kids, where you could, the temperament of a young child typically is what you'll see in late adulthood. But if you look at that child in adulthood, they look very different. They look very limited. They look very caged, right? Freud talks about the superego playing into that. If the superego becomes too powerful, you do start to feel caged, and when you feel caged, of course, you'll feel more anxious, you'll feel more depressed. Yeah. Basically, what I'm trying to say is it's the same. I come to the same conclusion in a very different way.
Yeah, it's like we as people in the West, we talk a lot about never give up, try again. But to be psychically healthy, you have to eventually win. It's not about trying. The component of conquer, that will to power, is actually bigger than survival. That's why a caveman pursues power, even if it means going somewhere that could potentially kill him. So humans aren't appealing to survival instinct. Humans, just like I guess humans the most. I don't want to talk about animals, but humans, what separates them from animals is this will to power. That a lion is at the top, apex predator, and that's it. And a human, when they're at the top, there's a new peak always. There's always more power. Or I had no idea how important winning is until I got more into Nietzsche, and I was like, oh wow, that if you're winning in life without conquering, you can be still a weak little bitch. For example, compare everyone's 70-year-old grandfather to a conquering ruler archetype like Donald Trump. And we all admit, I don't know why people fight this, we all admit Trump, he seems healthier than our grandfathers. No?
I agree. I'm trying to put the pieces together on that one.
Basically, Trump is he's into conquering, right? Whereas other people are just playing golf. And
the question there is, can you win without conquering and be happy? Right. So there's three stages. It seems like you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't believe that. I don't believe you can go your whole life winning and separate it from conquering and still be healthy. Because let's say you're a winner, aren't you really saying you're just like everyone else? Like, oh, you're paying rent, you're doing this.
I suppose it's how you define winning, right? For a lot of people who have those bases covered, that's not what they would consider to be winning, right? Their ambitions naturally grow from that. But if you don't have that, then maybe winning is just paying the bill at the end of the month. Paying the bills, I mean.
I've seen streamers' states change where they go from little bitch to badass when they're let's say it's Among Us or a video game they're good at. They hop on that video game, and then Jelly Peanut will turn into some completely different human being just because he's at an expert level in the video game. And then I look at that and I
don't buy that.
You don't see you don't see a nerd pick up something they're good at and they look like a different human when they're playing that.
But when they're playing it, yes. But I don't believe that somebody. I don't believe that somebody could play video games and not do anything else. Even if they make noise about it.
That's not what I'm saying. Forget the video game. It could be anything, badminton or whatever. What I'm saying is the only difference there, the change in face, the change in state, the different nature that you're looking at. The only difference is he's not winning. He's conquering and dominating. He's really good, right?
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's like, and then you ask people how much money would you spend to live in that state of mind when you're playing good badminton. People would pay like billions of dollars to live in that state of mind for free.
You're right, because I was watching the Olympics the other day, just watching like some highlights and things like that, and you do see like even table tennis, something that for most of your life nobody cares about. Swimming too actually is kind of like this. Nobody cares about swimming until the Olympics come around. But then when you see like that, I guess part of it is the focus, part of it is the conquest.
Well, another thing
that part of it does really sort of resonate with you. It kind of brings up something primal in you.
And that let's say ping pong for table tennis. it's the symbol of their libido. Like you said, it's so you're really intelligent when you said that sex drive is peeling off of libido and not the other way around. That makes so much more sense. That's so much more Jungian. And it explains everything. It explains talent, football, everything you can do. But I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, that ping pong player, yeah, his state changes. Like he can't be depressed when he's holding a racket. It's very hard for him because his mind is kind of now all.
But is it conquest or is it mastery?
All the scattered thoughts change when he grabs that racket, and they all start to come about ping pong, and they all start unifying. But when he's not playing ping pong, he still has a symbol for his libido. So he goes to the movies with his friends, and he's playing ping pong in his head, just like Ronaldo's playing football right now. And he's playing with his kids because he's doing something in his head that is engaging that will to power, will to conquer, will to master. He's healthy. He's not depressed. He's playing the game in his fucking head.
I don't think it's conquest exactly. I don't think it's winning either. I think it's mastery. In all psychology, Chad, if there's one thing you can take from this, it's that in all psychology, what we seek, what we yearn is a sense of control. Because there's one thing that in our lives, no matter how much we try, we cannot control. It's our death and what happens after that. Right? So the unpredictability, the uncertainty of death. Do you ever think, Zerk, about the people who like were buried alive? They had no plan to be buried alive. I'm sure they never thought about it ever. And then they find themselves in some circumstance where somebody's pouring soil over your camp. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if you think about it like that. It's terrifying. You know that you have no idea how you're going to go. I mean, it could be the most tragic of. Anyway, so not to scare everybody, but anyways, what we seek is
one
control.
more thing to worry about, Chad.
Yeah. Anyways, all right, let's move on because we're way behind on the chat.
I think I want to say it is conquering. It is something about like when you say humans are looking for control, I think they're more realistic. I think they're looking for moments of control so they can have things to look forward to, right?
Yeah, I disagree with that.
You think they always want control?
I think control.